Got it.
Well, good evening. Welcome to Co-Creating the Newer Together. We've got a very special guest this week, Andrew Paul Smith, life coach, poet, and former lay preacher. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jack. It's very good to be, very kind of you to invite me in to be here. I've been blessed by yourself and Annie over the last 6 months, almost 6 months now, on a Monday night at 6:30. I know you've been trying to get me to come on the show, and we're just about ready with this book, but got the cover through, the large image, the high pixel variation, and maybe this weekend it'll be on its way to the printers, but you've got me early. Well done.
When your book's ready, Andrew, we'll have you on again.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Andrew's a regular on our Monday show, Love Not Fear, that we do on the same Zoom link. Well, I don't know. We're having problems with Zoom today, so we may end up using a different platform. But if you go onto zoomjack.uk, you'll get the latest information. So tell us a little bit about your background, Andrew.
Well, I believe that I chose my parents after something I read that Wayne Dyer wrote, and my dad was a lay preacher in the Methodist Church. He was many other things, but a bit of a philosopher as well. And I loved, as a teenager, arguing at one point, you don't believe in that God nonsense, do you? Really? I mean, really, do you believe it? And then coming back from Bible school saying, but Dad, you've got it wrong, because the Bible doesn't say that. The Bible says this, and I'll show it where it is in the good book. So he dealt with me from both sides with such grace. And then when my youngest son started doing the same trick on me, I thought, this is payback time.
I was the same as a kid, Andrew. I used to argue with the RE teachers at school, and so now you say you got it. Now you got it wrong. And we used to have a different RE teacher every term, and I don't know whether it had anything to do with me.
Well, I was one of a very small number of people in the RE O-level course, and I think it was about 10 of us. And I think most of them thought it'd be a bit of a laugh. The teacher was a running school joke. And I think they thought it's just somewhere to get your head down and not have to bother, just have a little sleep for 40 minutes each time it came round for RE. And unfortunately, for 10 years, they hadn't had a successful O-level student. No one had ever got the O-level. And I think that reflected on the teacher. But the guy who sat next to me in the class, not in the exam, and myself, we both passed it. So I think I taught the guy next to me in the class.
So you were involved with a couple of different Christian groups, weren't you, at one time?
Well, yes, obviously I grew up in the Methodist church. Mum was Sunday school teacher, granddad was Sunday school superintendent, 36 years. And then I left, according to my grandfather, for the Happy Clappies, the Pentecostal, the Plentilostals, the Evangelimolds, the Carries Rheumatics, and they, you got, when you're praising God, you don't just sing, you raise your hands to praise God, and you got, your arms ached when you came home, you couldn't eat your Sunday dinner. No, I'm kidding. So
if there's anyone we haven't offended yet, don't worry, we'll get to you soon.
But yes, I was involved in the leadership of the charismatic church. I was like the new Christians, I'd indoctrinate them. I'd have all the dogmas for them, and this is what we believe. And I did that for a while. I used to go around evangelizing, knocking on people's doors. I remember one particular day, we were knocking on the doors, and every house we went to, are you Jehovah's Witnesses? I said, no. And you know, every house. So eventually you go in twos. So I said to my pal, I said, I'm sick of this. I'm going to tell them before they ask this time. So we knocked on the door and I said, and before you ask, we're not Jehovah's Witnesses. And this lady said, but we are.
Oh, nice one.
Beautiful. And we got invited in, and it was Saturday morning, and these two little young teens were sat in their Sunday suits and tie, and got both recesses of the fireplace covered in black books, and they were just sat there. And I thought, you should be playing out in the mud. So yeah, it was lovely to have that experience and to go around inviting people to church. And then 1993, there was a bit of a to-do, and I remember Jesus saying in the Bible, if you're not received, you shake the dust off your feet and you walk away. So I could have had a big argument with the eldership of the church, but I just walked away. And I've been a bit of a loner, always involved in personal development, from going to be an insurance, life assurance salesperson. And so we got into Brian Tracy and Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. And that took me into Wayne Dyer and Jack Canfield rather, and all kinds of different. So that was sort of where I was getting my sustenance from after I wasn't listening to the sermons on a Sunday. And that led me to become a life coach for New Insights in 2006, after my employer of 15 years said that I was not fit for purpose. So I thought, well, how come I've been fit for purpose for 15 years? But again, I chose that way of just walking away in peace. I could have spent 2 years in court arguing. I didn't want to have anything more. If you don't want me, I'm gone.
What were you doing, Andrew?
I was an accounts manager. I had my own bookkeeping business for 6-8 years. That was the main client. And then they came to me one day and said, would you come full time? I said, well, none of the other clients I would say yes to, but this one, yes, I will come. So I did 7 years part-time with them, 2 days a week, and then 8 years full-time as accounts manager. So the company grew with me. The turnover when I got there was 2 million. When I left, it was 15 million. And I was doing monthly management accounts for them. And this lady who took over from me, she said, they all say Andrew this and Andrew that. And she said, I just feel like I'm keeping this seat warm for you. And I said, no, that's your chair and you're very welcome to it. And the chairman's wife, the financial director's wife, was sat there, and she, if looks could have killed, that would have been the end of me, because she was so shocked, because I'd been so much part of that family business for a very, very long time. But if I take the view that if you don't want me, then I'm not going to waste my time. I don't want to impose myself on you. So it gave me the opportunity to retrain as a life coach and to become a master coach for New Insights, which is basically teaching people how to become coaches. And we're setting up something with the Way Life.
Tell us a little bit more. Tell us a little bit about the Way in a minute. Yeah. How did you get, because you're a brilliant poet as well, aren't you? How did you get into that?
Right, well, I have got here, I don't know if people can see this, a little pamphlet that I had created by a local printer in 2006. And in the foreword, it says, after being encouraged to put your poems in a book by many people over the years, here is my first attempt at publishing some of them. Since 1967, when dear Mrs. Keithley, my Standard 4 junior school teacher, I was aged 10 at the time, told me I had written poems worthy of being put on display on the classroom wall, which she did, I have known that I have talent for writing poetry. It's wonderful how a little word of praise can help you believe in yourself for a lifetime. Thank you, Mrs. Keithley.
Yeah, it's so important, that, isn't it? To get the feedback, to get some praise, to get some recognition. It's so important.
What she let you be able to judge for yourself what she let loose.
But we say we're not doing it for that, don't we? We always say we're not doing it for that, but we do still appreciate it so much when it comes in.
I think if you know any young children growing up, if you get an opportunity to tell them that they're good at something, please do, because that meant the world to me. And yeah. I've written, I think, well over 2,000 poems now.
They say we spend our first 7 years in theta, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Before, and then alpha, and then we get into beta. And that's the time when we're most receptive. And the rest of our lives is formed on the basis of what we pick up, and it includes what we pick up subliminally during those first 7 years.
Yeah, the first 7 years.
Kids and tell them that they're worthy, and that they're loved, and that they're appreciated, and that they're talented. During those first 7 years, instead of telling them that they're worthless.
I think, if anything, that was overdone for me, because I was accused of having a chip on my shoulder, because everyone around me, my parents, my grandparents, my dad, his brothers and sisters, my grandma and granddad's brothers and sisters, they all doted over me and other members of the family, not just me. And they all said, how wonderful I was. I truly believed it, and I still do. And then you go into the workaday world, or you go to school, and it's like, who do you think you are? But I already knew that that's who I was. It's not something that I'm asserting. It's something that I've lived and grown up with. That's just who I was told I was. So who are you to say that I'm not what I was told that I am?
That's brilliant. Do you want to give us one of your poems, Andrew?
Okay, let's go right to the very beginning. This is one of the ones that went on the wall in the classroom, and it's called Squirrel Play. Up and down they gaily prance, like the fairies in a dance. Play they do all spring long, like the elves they sing their song. Men gaze at them when they have chance, like Sir Galahad in a glance. But in the winter snow they lie, some poor things are bound to die. Some are tamed and kept at home, like a man and his gnome. Some are sought at the shops, but they think play is tops. and the date on that one is the 10th of March 1967.
Yes, okay. I won't ask you how old you were
then. I would be 10, 9 or 10.
Yeah. I'd have been 15.
There's not much between us, Jack. Let's be fair. Really, not now. It doesn't make much difference at this stage. If you'd have seen that poem at the time, you'd have probably thought, oh, so.
Right. So this Facebook group that you've got.
So yeah, back in 2011, I had 3 inspirational writings group. The idea that I had because I'd been posting, oh, it was a nightmare. I was posting poems like Rudyard Kipling's If and Daffodils, William Wordsworth, that kind of thing, Ode to a Grecian Urn. And people were liking them. And then I was saying, is it okay if I tag you in the next one? Well, I was tagging 200 people a day, and it was just too much.
Yeah.
So I created 3 separate inspirational writing groups with about 60 people in each group. And the idea that I had was to build a community in each group, a little bit of interaction each day around whatever had been posted, either by me or by anyone else. And I lost interest with it, to be fair. And then back in 2012, so 10 years ago, I brought all 3 groups together and called it Be Inspired. And it just blossomed and flourished.
Oh, brilliant.
I had about 20 people asking to join it each day. The algorithms must have been working in my favor back then. I think there's about 15,300 people in the group now. So that's, you know, they call it a digital asset. You know, these are people who have been aware of me for 10 years now.
And do other people post their
Yes,
work?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've sent you all the links, so you'll be able to post them below the video at the end.
I put all the links in the description.
Yeah.
When this goes up onto YouTube.
Brilliant. And then I've had various pages on Facebook. The one that I am most happy about is Love Revolution. I came up with this idea of we didn't need a political revolution, and we didn't need a philosophical revolution. We didn't need any other kind of revolution. We needed a love revolution.
I agree with that.
And about 8 months later, Russell Brand brought out a book called Love Revolution. But you can actually see on Facebook when the page was created, and it's before Russell Brand's book. But my idea was that, first of all, you've got to love yourself. You've got to have a decent, good relationship with yourself. Then you've got to love the people who your life touches, the real people in your life every day. And then you've got to love the neighbors and the city that you live in. And then you've got to love the country that you live in. You've got to love the planet. You could go for the continent, but the planet. And then you've got to love the whole universe. Yeah. But that's the order. You know, unless you've got the love for yourself sorted out, you're not in a place of power to be able to take the love any further. So that's how I see the love. I'm a love anarchist. I don't believe in rules. I believe in the rule of love, that you do no harm and be a person who shows love and kindness and light. If you can shine your light, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. If I can do that, then I think that's all each person is called to do. It's not a big calling. Some people do have larger callings than others, but that's the main one, to love.
We've got somebody joining us.
Hooray!
I think, or maybe not.
Yes, it's Jack. Another Jack. 2 Jacks.
Hello, Jack.
Hi, Jack. Oh, no, don't say that on a plane.
Oh, dear. Let's have a look.
He's got himself
Jack Davis.
muted.
He hasn't got his camera on, not to worry.
So thank you for joining us,
Jack. You're
Jack.
welcome, Jack. If you want to ask any questions or make any comments, then please feel free to unmute and do so. So, Andrew, can we have maybe another poem? And then after that, if you want to talk us a little bit about self-love and how we develop self-love. Right.
So in this book, which is no longer available, maybe I ought to reprint it.
Maybe.
The very first poem in it, it's really a collection of poetry. I use my poetry to express my inner feelings. And this book of poems, it covers the period between ending the accounts manager job I didn't know it was ended when I started writing the poems here and becoming a life coach. So it's like my own personal journey in feelings. So the first one that I wrote before I was told that I was persona non grata anymore, in a dialogue, what words do you say to yourself in the silent world within? Do you speak of contentment and joy, or do you not know where to begin? You may not think it's important what daily goes on in your mind, but to show this world some love, you need to yourself to be kind. Positive, negative thinking are not what they may seem to be. Psychobabble and rah-rah hope is not at all what I see. I believe that whether you order your thoughts in a particular way, that nevertheless what goes on in your mind will affect all you do and say. Observe yourself when you think. You'll discover the reality you make. A life full of fun and contentment is your choice and no one else's mistake. So
yeah,
this
that's
is
beautiful. Yeah. So how do people do that? How do people develop the self-love?
so yeah, I think that people find we used to be told in Sunday school, my mum was a Sunday school teacher, so this is, you know, if you're going to annoy anyone, annoy your mum. My Sunday school teacher, hello mum, used to say, if you want to get joy, you put Jesus first, others second, and yourself last. And I'm doing I don't know the exact opposite, but I'm doing I'm saying no, you've got to love yourself first. Most people's problem that I see is not that they don't love, they do. They're very kind, very gracious, very helpful, but they don't do it for the one person that they've got with them all the time. That's themselves.
Andrew.
Hello, Jack.
Sorry to bother you. I've come up with a poem myself. Would you like me to read it out?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
Please, Jack. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a racist, but all lives matter. I'm not a racist because I won't drink tea. I'm not really a racist. They look better down at the gym. I'm not really a racist, but it's well known they can't swim. I'm not a racist. Do we have to make amends? I'm not really a racist. I've got loads of coloured friends. I'm really not a racist, no. I think this country is fair. I'm not really a racist. Oh, can I touch your hair, Andrew?
Touch my hair. I don't know. I don't know.
I've got more.
Well, hang on, because Andrew was telling us about developing self-love.
I think that developing self-love involves not being a racist as well. So,
Okay. Andrew, you got the floor.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think that most people haven't got a problem loving. They have a problem loving themselves. They don't. We've been taught selflessness. I think it's part of the British stiff upper lip that we don't consider ourselves, and certainly in church, to give and give and give again what God has given thee, to spend thyself nor count the cost, to serve right gloriously. It's one of the old hymns. And so the idea is that we're nothing, we're nobody. We don't deserve, we're sinners, we're awful, we're bad. So we show our love to Jesus, we show our love to other people, but not to ourselves. And I've turned that on its head. I believe that, and I actually said it just a few moments ago, didn't I? That you can't.
What if I don't believe in Jesus?
Well, that as well, that may as well be. This is my story, Jack. This is JackCox is interviewing me about my life. So I'm talking about my experience of growing up within the Christian faith, within the Methodist Church. Yeah. And so my mum was a Sunday school teacher, and she said, you put Jesus first, others second, yourself last, Joy. That spells joy. And I'm saying, no, you put yourself first. You look after it. It's what we were saying, Jack, wasn't it, on Monday, about in the airplane. You take the breathing apparatus and put it on your own face first.
Yeah.
No,
Because
you put it on your
otherwise
children's face first. You don't put it on your own face first. I want my children to live. Thank you very much.
I don't know if we need to mute Jack. I think you're seeing everything as an affront. I'm just telling my story, and what JackCox has just asked me to explain why it is that, you know, what I believe in, and so on. So this is the interview of JackCox of Andrew Paul Smith.
So you're saying.
All right. I'm sorry. I've removed Jack.
Well, unfortunately, it happens so many times. You're having a conversation with someone and they're missing what is actually being said.
Yeah.
They're too busy listening to their own voice in their own head, which is very valid. I wouldn't knock, but this isn't what tonight's about.
It's not what tonight's about now.
No. So by all means, if you want to have a different conversation, the other Jack, by all means, send me a message on my Facebook. The link to my page will be, I think you're probably already a friend of mine. That's why you've joined us tonight. Please send me a message and we can have a chat. I don't mind that at all, but that isn't what this was about. So so going back to your question, Jack, that there is a need, I believe, to really consider ourselves as being of prime importance. And I think it's being able to recognize your own divinity, to being able to see that you're just as valid as anyone else, that there isn't a hierarchy of people who are worthy. We're all worthy. Each one of us are unique, just like everybody else. So we need to relearn that. That is one of my major awakenings, because I was always told, don't be a big head, Andrew. People don't like big heads. And so I diminished myself. I stopped bragging. I was braggadocious. There's a good Trumpism for you. I was quite a braggadocious person. You know, I won't bore you with all the details of that, but I could illustrate that quite well about my own life, about the way that I was with other people, telling them, you know, I knew. And anyway, I went the other way, and I said to the person who was coaching me at the very beginning of becoming a life coach, I got a coach, and they said to me, and I've got several coaches now, but they said to me, you're the least braggadocious person that I know, Andrew. You're a very humble person. And I thought, yeah, I do probably need to assert myself a little bit more. We all know what we know, and Jack, you know quite a lot, and if you don't know, you research it and it comes out on a Monday evening. I've been thrilled by putting the meat on the bones of these concepts that I've been aware of, but it's just been really, oh right, well, they didn't teach you that in Sunday school. So yeah, I think it is important that each person decides to take a look within and to love the one who is there.
You say unlearn. I mean, all this stuff. If we were taught during the first 7 years that we were unworthy, unlovable, naughty, every time we asked a question, we were talking back every time we wanted to know something. How do we unlearn all that crap?
I think by not paying it any attention anymore. I think it's as simple as that. And I know that the Richard Wilkins, the Ministry of Inspiration in Northampton, he talks about the script, the voice in your head that is telling you, a lot of rubbish, and just choose not to listen anymore, choose not to believe it anymore, choose to find, as a coach will help you, new beliefs that inspire you, that make you feel good about yourself. So as a coach, I could show you, and I'm sure you've done this in the past, Jack, how to disempower negative beliefs and how to empower new, exciting and wonderful beliefs. And maybe that's where you should start. You should start with yourself, rather than I want to have a large bank account. Yes, of course. I understand that is the focus of our materialistic world, and you think that you'll have value when you've got the money. But Jim Carrey said, I wish you had all the money that I've got and all the possessions I've got. And then you'd realize that isn't it.
That's not it. No, I mean, I had it all a few years ago. I haven't now. I'm probably happier now than I was then.
Don't go into the Four Yorkshiremen sketch. But I agree, it's not about, I think it's, if your possessions, I think it's in the book of Obadiah in the Old Testament. It's a very short book, and yet it says there, possess your possessions. And it's like, why would you use the same word twice when it's a really short book? Why use it twice? But I don't think that people do possess their possessions. They don't realize in fact, it's the opposite way around. Yeah. Their possessions possess them.
Yeah, agreed. Can we have another poem, please, Andrew?
Okay, let's go a little bit further forward in time. Oh yeah, let's have a song. Oh,
let's have a song.
I used to aspire to be a songwriter, so I'd probably choose somebody else's tune and then get my guitar out and start writing my own words. So I don't know how well this will come out. It's called Everybody Got to Love Somebody. We've got the world, yeah, me and you. So tell me now what we must do. We've got to set an example to this world. We've got to set an example to this world. We've got to love, yeah, me and you. 'Cause everybody got to love somebody. Yeah, hear me, everyone. Love your neighbor. If you can't love your friend, I know it will stop war in the end. Can you see love between me and you? And can you see what we must do when we've set an example to this world? When we've set an example to this world, we've got to let it live in peace. 'Cause join in, not live, because it's like Happy Birthday. If you sing it on Zoom, it's no good. Because everybody got to love somebody. Yeah, hear me, everyone. Love your neighbor. If you can't love your friend, I know it will stop war in the end. Now we have love, just me and you. We have seen what we can do. So tell the world to do it too. So tell the world to do it too. We'll just let the world do it too. 'Cause everybody got to love somebody. Yeah, hear me, everyone. Love your neighbor. If you can't love your friend, I know it will stop war in the end. 1972. I was 15.
And we were all trying to stop the Vietnam War then, weren't we?
Indeed we were. That's probably where the idea for it came.
I was at the big demonstration in Grosvenor Square.
Mm.
Well, there were 2 years running, wasn't it? 2 years running. I went to one of them. I can't remember which one I went to. 68, I think.
It was I was just born too late for you to notice me. Yeah, I was 5 years. No, you've got the 5 years.
Than me, so yeah.
Yeah, the power, the flower power and psychedelia and all. I missed it, but I read all about it. Read all about it.
If only we could, if only we could, if only we could do that. If only we could, like, if this is my message that I keep pumping out. If only we could live from a place of love and generosity instead of meanness and fear. It's
Simple,
only
isn't
fear
it?
that causes us to be mean.
I think you must be
The whole
right.
world would
I know
change.
you're right.
The whole world would change overnight.
Indeed.
Everything would
it's
change.
simple. It really is simple. They don't need some economic statement or whatever it was yesterday. They just need for people to realize that inside them there's a big load of huge amount of explosive love wanting to get out and show itself. But the fear of what would happen if I dared to do that,
I know.
that holds us back.
Yeah, and how it will be received, because often when I express love, it's often received in the wrong way, because people carry so much baggage that they interpret it through the lens of their own baggage. Instead of saying,
we can't help it, Jack. It's just the way it goes. You know, you see it through Wayne Dyer again. He says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yes.
We look at it through the prism of our own experienced reality. You can't do it any other way. It's like when somebody comes across with something that's completely out of the park, and you think, well, where did they get that from? Then the conversation that I would like to have with Jack is, where are you from? You know, where did that all come from? Because I want to understand. I'm fascinated by everybody and everything. I really want to know. I can talk a lot, as you can tell, but I am a good listener as well, and I reflect back what's being said to me just to make sure that I have understood what the other person is saying. And I think as a coach, that really helps, because probably the most amazing thing about coaching, if it's done properly, is that the client feels heard, maybe for the first time in their life. I've had people say to me on many occasions, Andrew, I'm going to tell you something now, and I've never even told my own partner about this. And I thought, and the two ears nearest to your mouth haven't heard it ever said. And what a privilege it is for me. So you know, I feel like a priest, really. You know, I'm being told things, and they're daring to say the stuff that's been on the inside all along, and they've never even admitted it to themselves.
That's profound, isn't it? But I think that's the same for all of us, isn't it? We've all got things that we're not prepared to face.
Yes.
Yes. All of us.
I'll vote for that.
All of us. Yeah. You're not exempt from it, Andrew.
But that's about growing, isn't it? It's
I'm
like
not exempt from it. There's things I'm not ready to face. There's things you're not ready to face. But
everything that's alive on the planet is growing. And until you go, you're still growing.
Yeah.
You might have grey hair or a grey beard, but you're still learning, you're still growing.
Yeah. Until we see the inside of that wooden box.
I told you about Richard Wilkins, didn't I? He said, I've got this exercise I do in the morning. I said, is it like, you know, keep fit? He said, no, I'm feeling for wood. If there's no wood there, I'm above ground for another day. Well, hey!
I said to somebody the other day that we've got to keep trying and learning and trying until we see the inside of that wooden box. There's no point in giving up.
Never give up. Do you want another poem?
Another poem.
So this is one that I'm particularly pleased with, and I know Mrs. Keithley told me that I could write poetry, but I've read some of the other people's poetry out there, And mine, as I said to you before we started the recording, seems like rhyming doggerel compared to the likes of Ode to a Grecian Urn. And I said to this person who's actually making a living out of poetry, I got talking to him on Facebook. I said, could you give me some pointers? Can you explain to me how these great poets do it? And he said, it's the use of simile and metaphor.
Yeah.
It's like in the book of Revelation in the Bible, it says, it was like this and it was like that. It wasn't that at all. If you read the book of Revelation, John the Divine, he's not describing what he saw. He said it was like this. In fact, if it was only like that, it really wasn't that at all, was it? So metaphor and simile and parable, which is what Jesus used, didn't he? He used lots of stories to explain. So I wrote this poem after this exchange with this true life poet. Never-ending supply of wisdom, like a weary man in a dry parched land, with the midday sun bleaching my skin. I was hot and thirsty, I was feeling dirty, needing to fill an aching emptiness within. And then there's like a chorus, don't expire in the fire, drink deeply from the cool and never-ending wisdom, never-ending supply of wisdom given freely to the fool. Then she said to me, you must be out of your tree not to understand the implications here. You could hang on to a mirage and miss taking charge of your life and putting an end to your fears. That's another one for you, Jack, isn't it? Putting the end to the fears. In the desert sand, my thirst came to an end. This was a revelation of the things that were to come. Like a prophecy, her words came to me. My angel gave her comfort and was gone. I was cool and elevated. Yeah, I felt elated. And my emptiness took wings and flew away. The sun still filled the sky and not one cloud went by, yet my troubles were gone. I was no more afraid. I could see my way through, although I was still feeling blue, but a gentle breeze blew on my back. The problems of the day had vanished away. Perception is the judgment we lack. 2006.
Do you want to say a little bit, because you started talking earlier about the Way, and Way chat and Way tube and all that lot. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Right. Well, many years ago, and I know you've had Karen on the show here on a Friday night.
I have, yeah.
I was speaking to Karen, not at great length, but from time to time on Facebook Messenger. She put something that really touched a chord with me, and it really it brought up questions. So I'd say it was really good what you put. Could you explain this or that? And so we got into a number of conversations over a number of years, and it was the pandemic and my feed in Facebook. I had people saying Donald Trump is the most amazing person ever, and there were other people saying this man is a madman. And there were also people who are my friends, because I've got 4,900 or thereabouts friends, were saying that the pandemic is the plandemic and it's all bad news, and it's trying to stop you from being a real person, and they're going to inject you with all these nano probes and what have you. And other people on my profile were saying, if you don't get your jab, you're an idiot. And you know, I try not to be controversial on Facebook. My intention in 2008 was at the banking crash, just to start bringing some inspiration, some balance into the negativity that was in the world at that time. That's why I felt, let's post the Rudyard Kipling, If and Daffodils, Wordsworth and so on, just to try and enlighten people who were in a very dark place. And so I've always stayed away from controversy. I've never taken sides on a round planet. I don't think it's a good thing to do. And I saw this thing that Karen had written, and she said, it's your own body, and people from both sides of this argument should respect each other enough to say, it's your body. You decide what you do,
Your
whether you
body,
have
your
the
choice.
jab or you don't.
Mm.
Yeah. So I thought, yes, I can go along with that as a statement because it doesn't offend either side. Well, it probably offends both of them, actually.
Yeah, well,
Equally, it's not taking sides with one set of friends over another. And when you're bringing inspiration, and if you look back on my profile for the last 10, 12, 15 years now on Facebook, I think you can just keep going back and back and back. It's just filled with positivity and inspiration. So I've never taken on a view of controversial matters. So I just wrote to Karen and I said, thank you so much for making it so easy. I don't know why I didn't come up with that solution myself. And thank you for it. She said, oh, I was going to ask you, would you like to be involved with the Way? And I said, what's the Way? So then she set up a meeting with Catherine, who's also been on this show.
on the show, yeah.
And we spoke. I felt like I was being interviewed for a job, because I don't know whether you're going to see eye to eye with people. But we got on like a house on fire, and that was 15 months ago now. And so we keep meeting on a Monday morning, 9 o'clock, and there's various technical things and business type things involved in our conversation, but usually it gets down to having a real knees up, as they used to say, with our own sort of view of the world, our worldview, which is very similar, and to be able to encourage each other to keep going forward in that worldview. So the idea, as you already know, those people who've watched the show before with Karen and Catherine, and I know you've mentioned it yourself, Jack.
Make it easy for people who don't know what we're talking about, Andrew.
The Way is a community vision platform. So there's a couple of things. The first thing is that the idea is to have a secure online place where people aren't collecting your data as you post things, and you find people of similar views to yourself, and some people might want to promote their business in this community vision platform. It's based on the idea of love and do no harm and helping each other. So it's about building local community, even though it's a worldwide platform. The idea behind it is we're now working closely with Chrysalis Coin, and the idea behind Chrysalis is that you employ the services of someone, maybe for care or for window cleaning or something like that, and you pay them 90%, 95%, but then you make a donation to charity of your choice, and 10% of that is kept as an admin fee. Well, if there were 1 million people on the platform, that would be a lot of money. But initially, it's not about creating wealth, it's about creating community. And the idea is to be able to link together all the like-minded websites on the planet in this safe, secure place. And it's not about it sounds a bit pretentious, the way. We're not saying that we are the way. We're saying you have your way to live your life. We're all walking our own way. I suppose it's Frank Sinatra, isn't it? I did it my way. Yeah. So it's about everybody being respected for walking their own path.
Maybe you should call it your way.
Your way.
Or our way.
Yeah, it's
just a thought.
It would probably make more sense, but it is the way, because there is only, I believe in unity consciousness. I believe there is only one. There's one song, the universe. There's only love. That's all there really is.
Yeah.
Everything, you've either got love or the absence of it.
Call it love way.
Love way, I like that. So whatever you call it, it's not really, it doesn't really matter what it's called.
I'm only winding you
No,
up.
no, you're not. You're making some very valid points here, but it's about finding the people of like mind online across the planet, and it's not to assert ourselves as we're just fellow travelers. We show us, but we're also wayfinders at the same time. Again, I refer you back to what Karen and Catherine said here on this show. So yeah, I found acceptance. You know, I come up with some pretty weird stuff, and not as weird as the stuff on Monday night. As far as my world was concerned, I'm having my horizons broadened by what's being said here on a Monday night. But
I'm going to have to be honest, Andrew. I'm still having technical difficulties with the way. I'd very much like to use it as a platform for these shows, and for the other things that I do. But I've had quite a bit of difficulty trying to get it. Doesn't seem to gel intuitively.
And that is a fair,
the technical side of it. The idea is brilliant.
That is a fair comment, and I think that's probably why it's not being promoted as much as we would like to, because we don't want to bring people to the platform to find them struggling and walking away. We will have a proper launch when everything is tied together. I've been using the platform now for over a year. I've recorded 84 videos, and each one has a poem of mine and then my explanation for that poem. And again, I'll send you the link. I didn't yet, but I'll send you the link to my YouTube, where you can find a lot of those videos. It was like 4 times a week I was recording it from December of last year. And the editing, you know all about the editing, don't you, Jack? It was just mind-boggling. So I said, I think that there's enough in the can there for people to be inspired on the morning. So I'm not going to do any more now for a while.
All right. I mean, I want some more of your poems as we go on. I mean, I don't know how you're set for time.
I'm fine. And maybe
just
you
in
could.
Case, what I'm going to say, Andrew, is there are some people that get bored around about the hour and turn off. So before we get to that point, do you want to just tell people how they can work with you?
Right. So my desire is to be of service in as many lives as possible, whether that is one-on-one coaching, whether it's a coaching group or online or in person, or I've been putting some of my original articles that I wrote called Daily Insights. I wrote them about 10 years ago. I've been putting them out on the Chris James radio show on Radio V75 for the last 6 months. Every night, Chris plays one of my recordings, which is great.
That's
so I've got another sort of wad of digital stuff that, you know, so maybe I'd like at some point to have a membership site where you get so many things for free, and then if you want to contribute to me carrying on doing this kind of stuff, you can send me £6 a month or something. I don't know. Yeah, you can work with me one-on-one. The Facebook links are going to be below. I've already sent them to you, Jack. And maybe we could set up a group where we can all help each other. And then I am looking for speaking opportunities like this, but in person. I want to get onto the radio with these little broadcasts that I've been doing. They're like 2 minutes long. If they want a thought for the day, I'm going to start promoting them to other internet radio stations, and don't know where that might take it. There's already about 100 of these daily insights being recorded like that this year. So yeah, I'd love to be able to, if you'd like me to come and speak to your group, it doesn't matter how small the group is. I remember Richard Wilkins, who's in Northampton, saying he drove down to the southwest of England for his first speaking engagement. And when he got there were 2 people there, and they both lived at that house. So no group is too small, no group is too large. You did mention the fact that I was a lay preacher myself. I preached at the Victoria Hall in Sheffield, which is the 3rd largest auditorium in the Methodist Church. I think there was about 450 people there that morning, and I preached on Luke 24 verse 42. No man knows the day nor the hour when the Son of Man will come in all his glory. The only bit that I remember from it was, do you think, I'll put your hands up now, anybody here think that Jesus is coming back today? And nobody put their hands up. I said, at a time as you think not, so cometh the Son of Man. So that was 1981 when I preached at the Victoria Hall. So yeah, I don't mind how big or small. I'd love to come and speak to your group.
My take on that, for anyone who might be interested, is that it's not so much Jesus coming back, it's Christ consciousness. And that's
I don't disagree.
What Aquarius is all about.
I agree.
Coming back.
But back in the 1970s, there was a book called The Late Great Planet Earth by a guy called Hal Lindsey. And he wrote another book called Satan is Alive and Well and Living on Planet Earth. And this is the kind of stuff that, as a young Methodist, it really excited me, because that isn't what they were telling us on the Sunday morning. I used to complain to my mum. I used to say, we've had politics again this Sunday. The sermon, it was politics. Yeah. It wasn't anything to do with the Bible. We had one guy, beautiful guy, talking about his holidays in the Costa del Sol Bridlington. And really, yes, you illustrate from your own life what you're preaching about. I get that. But she said, Andrew, I think she was trying to shut me up. She said, Andrew, if you can do any better, do it yourself. Well, that was the gauntlet thrown down. So yeah, I preached. I think I preached 150 times in the Methodist Church. Yeah. My dad preached over 1,000 times, so a fair bit of catching up to do there.
All right, let's have another poem.
Okay, let's see what we've got. Oh, how about a love poem from 1973?
Oh, okay.
So I'm 16 here. To love as no one has loved before, to know that when I ask, you give me more, to want you like a drug you take, to stay alive only for your sake, to give to you all I have to give, to wait for you as if to live, to have you want me as I do, to be stuck in love as if by glue, to save my love until you come, to live with you like with my mum, to cry for you each lonely night, to understand what's wrong from right, to hear your voice which keeps me sane, to smile with you even through the rain, to meet you when I'm down and out, to return to you without no doubts of who it is that you love, to know you'd want me with you above in that place where you never die. You're sweet to me like apple pie. I love you, want you, need you too, and want to stay forever with you.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's so a lovely little thing.
I take it that was your first love.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I wrote probably about 30 or 40 poems for the lady in question. Yeah.
There's something special about the first love, isn't there?
It certainly blows your mind.
Yeah.
The world, it's because I was gonna talk to you about the book Love that's coming out.
The book is coming out.
We've got the cover now. I sent you the picture of the cover of the book. Called Love. And the idea, all you need is love. They've been advertising it since 1967, this book. It's been a long, do you ever read the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? The restaurant, the restaurant at the end of the universe. And there's the second coming of the great prophet Zarquan. And it's just before they've all gathered to watch the universe end. And he's like 10 seconds before the end. And he turns up and says, sorry, I'm a bit late. That's my book. Sorry, it's a bit late. I've been talking about this book for so very long. But the idea behind it is that the word love in English has at least 7 counterparts in Greek, in the language of the New Testament. There's eros, which is romantic and passionate love, the love of the body. There's philia, the affectionate, friendly love. There's storge, the unconditional familial love. There's agape, the selfless, universal love. There's ludus, the playful, flirtatious love. There's pragma, the committed, long-lasting love. And this philautia called self-love. So the idea of the book is that it isn't, somebody said, is it full of romantic poems? Well, yes, there are romantic poems in it, but it's not just about eros, it's about all the other kinds of love. And I thought it was a very clever thing when I've put the text together, every time the word love appears, it's in capitals. So if you looking through the book, it just goes love, 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 love in your face all the time. I thought that was a really good idea.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons we screw ourselves into so many knots in English is we use the one word for everything. It's like 4 little words, 4 little letters to describe a whole plethora of different ideas, and it's crazy.
So yeah, you've got so much that isn't clear about love, and it's the biggest thing in the whole of the universe, of beyond the metaverse, the all the alternate universes, everything put together. That there is nothing greater and larger and more all-encompassing, more mind-blowing than love. Yeah. And just to say this 4-letter word, love,
doesn't do it justice, does it?
No. So
I like to talk about clubs.
Clubs?
Clubs, golf clubs.
Okay.
Golf clubs. What's a golf club? You join a golf club, you pay your annual subscription, you join a golf club, and then you go out onto the green and you hit a little ball with a golf club. And nobody confuses the different meanings of that word. They all know instinctively which is being within the context of the sentence. They know what's being said. Why can't we do that with love? Why do we get it all so mixed up? Why do we get all the different meanings mixed up? And another word that you can apply that same principle to is God.
Yeah.
I mean, so many different things in different situations. And people say, that's not God, that's God. Well, they're both different ideas of, you wouldn't confuse a golf club with a golf club, would you?
No, not at all. So
sorry, I interrupted you.
No, just out of interest, I have a poem which I wrote in 2010 called God.
Okay, let's have that.
So this is, remember, I left the church in 1993. So you can take the man out of the church, but can you take the church out of the man? I like to think that I did. It took a very long time. I was reading Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God.
Yeah.
And the first time I picked up the book was probably about 2007. And I started reading it. And I got probably 2 or 3 chapters in, and I physically threw the book away from me. And I said, blasphemy. Right? So about 5 years later, probably around about the time of this poem that I'm going to read now, I picked it up and I thought, this makes more sense than anything I ever heard in Sunday school. So it took a long time from 1993 to 2010 to get to this. And of course,
let me just make a little point here. Neil Donald Walsh, like any other channeler who channels a message from God or from archangels or from Seth or from Abraham or whatever, the message, the message is only as good as the channel, and the channel is a filter.
Yeah.
And no channel in this world is a pure channel. Every message that comes through is corrupted to a greater or lesser extent.
I used to think of myself maybe as a channel, that sometimes the poetry that I've written, it feels like it's from beyond me. It's not me. It's something beyond me, that I am the channel for it, because it's so good. But I've started taking ownership of it. I think that maybe each one of us has, especially those of us who see ourselves as some kind of light in this world, that we are as good as all the sum total of all our experiences, all the books that we've read, all the courses we have attended, the conversations that we've had with like-minded people, and that to actually point at somewhere outside of yourself as being the source of what you're bringing to the world. It's if you believe, I believe, like again, Wayne Dyer says about the bucket full of God, you take a bucket of the ocean, out of the ocean, and you put it over there in the corner. That's still the ocean. It's not the totality of the ocean, but it is ocean. And this is God. It's not the totality of God, but in this form, this is divinity personified. This is divinity clothed in humanity. So anyway, so as far as Neil Donald Walsh or Wayne Dyer or Eckhart Tolle is another one that I like. Osho is somebody I've listened to a lot on Audible. I see them as themselves. I don't see them as channels so much as, like you said, it's the channel, the channeled information is only as good, you said, as the channel that it's coming through. I believe that we should just take ownership of the gift that we are to the world. Anyway, this is called God, written in 2010. Who is God Almighty? How is he inclined? Omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, and eternal. Is that how he's defined? Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Always was and is, but he's the one who is your friend. The theory has been 3 millennia in the making. It's got complicated and seems too intricate for breaking. And yet the deeper science gets and the explanations bared, our understanding becomes simplified. Remember, E equals MC squared. Monotheistic, Judaism, Mohammedan, Christian too, all follow a pattern that each claims to be true, except for the Christians who state the Trinity, a savage, angry, fearful God of mercy is who he seems to be. The source of war and conflict on our dear planet Earth seems to be religion. Surely it's not worth falling out about theories of how God is defined, our existence should not continue in this way. It's so unkind. This is how dated this poem is. 6 billion belief systems exist in our world today. That's now 8, but never mind. Yeah. All based on a hunch that we're right in what we say. We gather ourselves together with those who seem to agree, and yet we are alone. We're different, you and me. Life cannot be contained in synagogues or mosques, in chapels, churches, houses, unless it's at great cost. Life's expanding, bubbling over, excitement overflows, and the energy of human life will always grow and grow.
Yeah, that's so true.
So I'm quite proud of that one. I think John Lennon did a song called God, didn't he? I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Beatles. I just believe in me, Yoko and me. That's it. So yeah, but I'm using all the big words because I know them, because I went to Bible school.
Yeah.
Beat you at your own game, love. Sorry.
Yeah, I can respect anybody's religious beliefs, but I don't have to share them in order to respect them.
One of the things that the Happy Clappies, the charismatic church said was one of the founding principles. There was a guy called Ern Baxter who spoke at the Dales Bible Week in 1977, and he said you can't keep, because people were saying let's stay and change the old church structures from within. And he said, you can't keep, it's in the Bible, Jesus said so. You can't keep new wine in old skins because it'll just burst out. And that's what I believe I'm saying it in that poem, that life and love and light will, whatever you try to contain it with dogma or doctrine, it's just gonna.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, as you said, there are 8 billion people all with totally different ideas, or slightly different ideas. And it's crazy to go and say, I'm right, and you're wrong, and everybody else is wrong, and I'm the only one who's got it right. And you know,
we got
the world's bigger than that. The whole concept is bigger than that.
Got the Jehovah's Witnesses at the door. It's 3 years ago. I've just shared the video. I just talked to camera on Facebook Live, and people join in sometimes and other times they don't. But I'd had this conversation with the Jehovah's Witnesses about 3 years ago, maybe in the past week, three weeks ago, and they came to the door, and I remember saying to them, I used to have them come in. I thought, I'm doing them a favor. I'm keeping them out the cold and the rain and the blow. And we're having a conversation that they're interested in and I'm interested in. But they always went away believing the same things that they believed when they walked in. Yeah, and I went away from the conversation believing everything that I believed before as well. So it was a complete and utter waste of time. Yeah. But they came to the door 3 years ago, and I said to them, you know, you used to come here. I used to have, and I named this particular person, come regular to speak with me. And I said, at that point, I thought you were wrong and I was right. I said, but I think we're both wrong now. And I laughed, but they didn't get it. They really didn't get it. You know, that I've come to, oh, you're on a journey, they said to me. You said, Andrew, that you're on a journey. Where are you going? I said, that's a really good question. Where am I going? I said, it's a bit like the person who asked for a return ticket at the train station when we used to buy them face to face rather than online. But where are you going to? He said, back here, of course. Return ticket. I'm coming back here. So anyway, never mind. Some fell on stony ground. And so I said, I'm on this. I said, I think I've arrived. I think I'm quite happy and content where I am right now. I don't want to argue about it. I have no desire to discuss it. I'm okay. I'm just okay.
Yeah, I mean, my ideas have taken a lifetime to crystallize, and they're still open to change every time a new piece of information comes along. Nothing set in stone.
Nothing
So I
is.
certainly wouldn't try to impose it on anybody else.
I've got another one here from 2015. It's called Now is Enough.
Mm.
And I like this because I think it's the first time that I wrote 3 lines in each verse and it doesn't rhyme. It's a bit like the roses are red, violets are blue, some poems rhyme, but this one doesn't.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right, so now is enough. Acceptance of what is in this ever-changing world will bring you peace. Ownership is illusion. You can neither add to nor subtract from your divinity. The eternal now contains all we need, all we are. Now is enough. It is filled with joy. Open your eyes.
Mm.
Look inside. You are what is real. The illusion of ego melts there.
This brings us back to our Wayne Dyer quote, doesn't it?
The nowhere and the now here. Is that
No,
what you...
about the way things change as you
Oh yeah,
you change.
Things change when the way the things you look at change when the way you look at things. No, I've got it wrong now.
No, I can't think of it now either.
Let me think about this. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things.
I don't know.
Never mind. It's gone, hasn't it? But it's
gone,
there earlier.
Gone.
Go back and listen.
We mentioned it 2 or 3 times.
Back, yeah.
Gone.
No, I thought you were going to talk about now. You know, he talked about NOWHERE. We're now we're nowhere, and then we take on this physical form, and we're now here, and then we take off this physical form, and we're nowhere again. And the only difference between them is this space between the W and the H. So you go nowhere, now here, nowhere. And here we are, he said, stuck in this parenthesis in eternity, which is our service to God. That's a beautiful quote, seeing as I couldn't remember the other one. That's terrible, Andrew.
As we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change.
Yes, you did it. Thank goodness for that. Oh dear.
See, we're both having senior moments at the same time.
Perfect. Let's do it together. Let's do it together. Would you like another love poem?
Yeah, let's have another love poem.
Okay, this is called Colours, and it was written in 2004.
Sorry,
this is when. Sorry, Colours.
Again?
2004. It's called Colours.
Colours. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I know our love's forever, unchanging like the leaves that stay on trees in winter. It's green, so I believe. Like the depth of the ocean, our love is pure and true, though it never makes me sad. Like the ocean, our love's blue. We have built a firm foundation, as steady as the ground. It's built to last forever. In that much, our love's brown. Like the warmth of a fire, our love is burning bright. Gazing into the embers, you'll see the orange, red, and white. Our love is like a rainbow. So when the showers come, the sunshine always follows. With you, life's so much fun.
Yeah. I think we ought to be wrapping it up, don't you? I think we've been
yeah. If you've got enough there, maybe we need to edit out our friend's visit.
No, I'm going to put
maybe
this.
Not.
I'm going to put this up raw as it is.
Okay.
I'm not going to edit that out. I think it's important to show
the reality.
Yeah, I mean, I like to be real.
Yeah.
People say I'm not very professional, but I'm not trying to be professional. I'm trying to be real.
I agree.
And sometimes I just have to edit some of the Monday shows just for brevity, to cut them down a little bit, because they ramble on for an hour and a half or 2 hours sometimes, don't they? But I try not to edit for content. I try to leave it real and raw.
Okay.
And he came and he expressed his opinions, and we respect his opinions. It just wasn't the right time to express those opinions, because they weren't relevant to what we were talking about.
It wasn't the context, was it? The correct context.
It wasn't on topic.
No.
I've got another group that I run, Let's Help Each Other to Thrive, which is all about helping each other and not paying each other back, but paying it forward. And that's what the group's about. And I removed about 4 or 5 posts today and 4 or 5 posts yesterday, because they're off topic, because they're talking about different things. You know, I agree with what was being said. It just wasn't the right place to say them.
I had a fallout with my cousin. She died a couple of years ago, cancer. She was born the same year as me, 1957. And she joined Be Inspired, and she started putting jokes in there. And I did the wrong thing. I argued with her. This is why I don't do it anymore. I argued with her under her post. And the conversation went a bit like this. I think that inspiration is, you can have a joke that can make you feel good. You hear a silly joke and it makes you feel good for the whole day. Some jokes are as good as that. And I'm just using humor to inspire people and to make people feel good about their lives and to have a laugh, because sometimes that's the only thing you can do with the stuff that's being thrown at you. And I said, well, I do agree with that, but I didn't set up Be Inspired to be a place where there's lots of jokes. There are many other groups on Facebook where you can share jokes. And this is basically the idea behind Be Inspired, is that maybe I would get some clients out of this. So I put a lot of hours into this, and I think you're detracting away from what, and it is my group. She said, you're a fascist. So, you know, you're telling us what you can and can't post. I said, no, I'm not. I'm saying that you can or cannot post in this group certain things, but by all means post them elsewhere. And then I blocked her and I banned her from the group. And then I sent her a private message on a text. And I said, I still love you very much, Shirley. But this is the means to my income. And the argument that we were having was totally unwholesome, didn't help the cause whatsoever. No. And I shall always love you, but I am not going to be going down that path with you or with anybody else ever again. So yeah.
Should we do one more poem before we close? Okay,
let's go for Effortless Perfection. How would you like some of that?
Oh, absolutely. I'll have a pint of that.
So the next book after Love, because it's been there waiting there for about 4 or 5 years, like the great prophet Zarquan. I'm sorry I'm a bit late. So the next book is Wayne Dyer wrote a book where he spent 4.5 days with each verse of the Tao Te Ching, and it's a brilliant book. It's very good. I thought I could write a poem for each of the verses of the Tao Te Ching. I'm calling it Impressions of the Tao, and it's just my take on it. It might, when you read the Tao Te Ching, it might not say what it says to me. That's okay. I'm not doing it like an exposition thing, some kind of theological expression, which is what Wayne did. I mean, he went into a lot of depth of detail.
Yeah.
So this is verse 37. I've based this on verse 37. Effortless perfection. Let's striving cease. Let's find release from actions clamored for. Let's know the peace and live at ease. Let our spirits soar. It's nature, in nature there's a rhythm, a melody so pure. Creation hums the music, the heartbeat of our world. The tune is deep within us, nothing we should learn, that we need to learn. Relax into perfection and let life's passion burn. Let pretenses fall away. Let all you do and say reflect the joy you found within. Show it's here to stay, and you have found the way to live but never sin. When calm and silence prevail, you will never fail. The universal anchor in your heart will enable you to sail, surviving winds and gales, enabling you to play your part. Effortless perfection, by finding the connection between all things and you. You will have such great affection, whate'er your life's direction, when you find peace that's true. Namaste.
Thank you, Andrew. Everybody please like and share, because that helps us to reach more people. Don't forget, we do a Monday show, Love Not Fear, 6:30 p.m. UK
It's a great
time.
show. Come be part of it. It's amazing.
Come along and join in.
I'm looking you in the eye. Look at that.
What's
Come
that?
to Monday, 6:30.
Thank you, Andrew. I think that's it. Yep.
So thank you very much, Jack, for the opportunity to come and natter on. I knew that we were going to have a great conversation. I wasn't really concerned. I got 35 poems, 36 poems waiting in the wings, and 2 books as well, the new book and the old one. But it flowed, didn't it? It was good.
Yeah, you're very welcome to come on again, Andrew, and do some more of your poems.
Well, let's talk about the love book once it's published, please.
We'll do that. Yeah,
yeah.
We'll do that.
And get a few sales. You never know.
This Friday show, co-creating the New Earth together, it isn't every week. It's only when I've got an interesting guest interview, such as Andrew. So if you're doing anything interesting that you'd like to be showcased, that just helps us move towards the new age, basically. Either putting out ideas, or maybe you run a community garden, or maybe you're involved in some community group, or maybe you're a therapist, or whatever it happens to be. If you want to be showcased on this show, please send me a private message.
Be great to see everyone else showing up. I'm going to have to go back and watch all the other ones, because I'm sure I've missed a lot.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Jack. The recording has now